Professor Nsibambi is a Ugandan who literally belongs to a class of his own. He's a man who served this country for, I believe, over 50 years. And in that long span of service, you cannot find anything that was irregular during the course of performing his duties. I was lucky to have worked with him at Makerere University since 1971. I was lucky to work with him in the government when he was a minister, but even when he was prime minister, I worked in his office for 6 years. And all that time, Professor Nsibambi performed his duties to near perfection. Therefore, he is a man who has totally acquitted himself as to having been a true son of Uganda. Now, as you must know, evils like corruption are not peculiar to Uganda. They are all over the world. What matters is what you do about that corruption. But I can assure you without any fear of contradiction that Professor Nsibambi was not corrupt. In the 6 years I worked immediately under him in the Prime Minister's office, I don't remember a single time when there was anything that resembled a corruption-influenced decision on his part. As a matter of fact, during my tenure in his office, whenever there was anybody he thought was not a very good person, he always did his level best not to associate with such a person. So he definitely was a wonderful man whose decisions and actions were based on what was good for the people of Uganda. And he's a man, by the way, you should know, who not only served Uganda, but I think to a great extent served the government of Buganda Kingdom. Because you must know he's the one man who negotiated judiciously with the government of Uganda to make sure that any mistakes that we have made in the past, we are corrected. And as things get done today, it's on the basis of what Professor Nsibambi laid as a foundation. To the young leaders, and indeed they are there, it is important that one is always on the right side of their conscience. One should always do what is right, distinguish it from what is wrong. Do what is good, distinguish it from what is bad. And don't think that by serving your own self, you are being useful to yourself, because if you serve other people judiciously, you get rewarded in one form or another. So I think the important lesson, one of the important lessons Professor Nsibambi teaches not only the younger ones like you, but all Ugandans, that really when you are given a job to do for the people of Uganda, do it to the best of your ability without any consideration for your personal interests. Oh, you know, Professor Nsibambi and I had been friends for a very long time. We were together in the Senate, the top academic organ at Makerere University during Amini's days. Professor Nsibambi was a very open-minded man. He was very frank. He's one of the few who would speak their mind during those difficult Amini's days. Therefore, much as I could think of filling his shoes, there are certain attributes of his that I couldn't measure up to. Very frank, open man, but I did my level best to make sure that where he left off, Makerere didn't find me wanting. And I was challenged because of his behavior to emulate him in everything we did for Makerere University. Thank you, gentlemen. He was
about the death of my dear friend, my teacher, my mentor. He inspired me to become what I have become. When I joined the Department of Political Science as a young boy, as a young man, he said he had noticed my potential. But most important, two important points. One, in his mind and in his practical world, there was no such a thing as tribe or religion of someone. He cherished everybody as long as you had something good to offer. Secondly, he mentored many people, including myself. Me, I'm a son of a humble family, but he noticed me and lobbied the British government to give me a scholarship to go to UK. Professor Nsibambi didn't know where I was coming from. He didn't know anything about me, apart from recruiting me in the department and just like any other. So I owe whatever I have become to him, because he broke the ground for me. And when I became a lecturer, he mentored me into how to teach, because I was never trained as a teacher. But he taught me how they teach at the university. But also, he was a man of principles, which I cherish up to now. He valued many things, a number of things. One, he valued time. Time. If you have made an appointment with him to be there at 10, you must be there before 10. If he gave you a piece of work to do, you would be required to do it efficiently and effectively without any compromise on standards of the service or the job. But also, he valued principles of public service. Principles of public service such as accountability, transparency, and integrity. And when he went to become the Minister of Public Service, he put these things into practice. You know, today, most public service ministries pay on time. It's not that the government has more money than before, but he established, before he left public service ministry, he established the principle that salaries should be paid promptly at the end of the month. It is still happening up to now, because he left that principle there. He said to me, if people are getting a small job, a small salary, they should get it also in time. It shouldn't be small, and then they don't even get it in time. He left that principle in public service, and it's still working. When he was Prime Minister, he was probably 60. But he would be the first person to climb those stairs at the Prime Minister's office. Number one. So if your boss, the Prime Minister, comes in time at 7:30, who are you to come now at 8:30? Timekeeping became very prominent at the office of the Prime Minister. So there are many things to remember Nsibambi for. He taught us to do research, to write, because you cannot become a professor unless you have written. He taught us how to do that. You cannot write without research. He taught us all that, especially when he was the director of Makerere Institute of Social Research. So we cherish all his works, all his integrity, and all his mentorship. In Nsibambi's time, when he was teaching us, he taught us how to teach. The methodology he used, some of us still use it. It was like when you have theory and you have put the students' theoretical perspectives, they can be very dry, and the students will tend to want to cram them, and they don't make sense out of them. So what Nsibambi did was to put up a theory, and as he puts up a theory, he puts also examples. So if you be grappling with theory and it's a bit hard, you would remember the example, and the example would make you remember how the theory works. That is a very exceptional. He was exemplary, a very exemplary teacher at the university, and a good leader. Yes.